We are very different from one another in terms of culture, education, perception, and many other aspects. Or aren't we? Meet the collective mind, or how we're more alike than different. Today in the spotlight are the collective conscious and unconscious minds. Join me to discover how all of us are similar in more ways than you could imagine and why we should set our differences aside. You're listening to Design Tokens, a podcast for the people shaping tomorrow, people like you and everyone you know. A show with stories about little things with a significant impact. Creations of your inner designer. I'm your host, Sip Rhymes. The herd immunity. Have you ever heard about it? It's a form of indirect protection from an infectious disease that occurs when a sufficient percentage of a population has become immune to an infection, whether through vaccination or previous infections, thereby reducing the likelihood of infection for individuals who lack immunity. Okay, but what can we learn from this statement? Well, if people wouldn't be alike, we couldn't bear the same disease. Our immune system would act very differently from person to person, and we couldn't form the herd immunity. We're all made from the same stardust, and that's the bottom line. But there's one other thing which is not that famous these days, highlighting our similarities, and that is the collective mind. Here's an interesting fragment from a short clip called Collective Consciousness presented at TEDx Sydney.
Our world is hyperstimulated. Constant demands for our attention can cause enormous stress. When we're stressed, we feel disconnected from ourselves, each other, and the environment. So how did we get here? As hunters and gatherers, humanity evolved over 1.8 million years to be interdependent with each other and nature. Our day-to-day survival depended largely on the strength of our connection to our tribe. Our common purpose was to serve the greater good of the tribe and nurture our belonging to it. We still crave this sense of belonging. But despite sharing the planet with billions of others, we can still feel so disconnected from each other. There's a theory called evolutionary mismatch that suggests that when a species makes rapid changes to their environment, it can cause immense stress and maladaptation.
Before going any further, I must mention two names here, Freud and Young, the teacher and the student, two of the greatest minds that ever lived on this planet. Whatever doors we opened to understand the human mind, it was all possible because these two had the keys. They defined the world of psychology and made a significant impact on our perception of the mind. Because of them, and also a sociologist called Durkheim, today we know all people have a collective mind which is made out of the collective conscious and the collective unconscious. If we add a third ingredient, the ego, then we get the psyche, the human mind in its entirety. The collective conscious can be defined as a herd mentality, our shared values, beliefs, and behaviors that create and change reality. We could even refer to it as being a social religion. It has been properly defined by Durkheim to explain how unique individuals are bound together into collective units like social groups and societies. But what is it that holds society together? Society exists because unique individuals feel a sense of solidarity with each other, and the source of it is the collective consciousness. Moving to the other side of the story, Young noticed recurrent and strikingly similar ideas, myths, and symbols that appear in folk tales, literature, and art of all cultures. These, he concluded, were manifestations of forms or archetypes that exist identically in every individual's unconscious mind. If it's not yet clear, here's a more straightforward statement. The unconscious mind does not develop from our experience, but it's inherited. This slice of our psyche is shared by tribes, societies, maybe even all humankind. You could think about it as our common library. There is a universal knowledge we carry written within our DNA Basically, memories, thoughts, and feelings encoded, and sometimes we can tap into it. Right, so what is the collective mind? A thinking process which all of us are sharing without even knowing. We grow together as a race by using both our individual capabilities and that of societies. Our collective mind considers relationships between parts and wholes, holistically perceiving cause and effect, stability and change, problem and solution. We do care about the things that bring us together more than the ones that separate us. The core values of our collective thinking process are diversity, collaboration, interdependency, inclusion, and the greater good. Here is Eckhart Tolle, you might know him as the author of The Power of Now, on how we can have a positive transformative effect on the world.
When your primary objective is to be a conscious human being, to manifest consciousness, to be aligned with the unconditioned consciousness that you are, then no matter what you do, you will have a beneficial effect on the world. The world will become a better place, even through your very presence.
All of us are made from the same raw ingredients. The only aspects that separates us is superficial contemporary doctrines. We'll always be caught between worlds, between our past and our future, dealing with our significant global problems. The way we're going to address this will define the future of all humankind. There has never been such a high need to come together. We need to understand each other better by the day, and we need to work as one. We need to set our differences aside because we're all the same. There are no tribes, no societies, and no races. Just one, humankind. Peace, love, responsibility, honesty, humility, happiness, cooperation, freedom, respect, tolerance, and unity. All of these are moral virtues which we need to reclaim immediately, together as one. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this audio snippet, please share it with a friend, send your comments across, or subscribe for more. I am Sip Rhymes from Design Tokens. Stay safe, stay happy.